This video goes over the process of how to obtain sealant, stimulant, hallucinogen, adhesives, lubricant, and other organic resources through the use of farms in your outpost. Towards the end of the video, I will explain my Excel roster that consolidates a list of resources that you're able to obtain and which planets to go to. So for organic farming, you want to check out Beta Turnion. We have Rivera, and we have Gargarian. Everyone, just wanted to make a video walkthrough on how to obtain adhesive, sealants, and other organic resources. So, to start off with this, you want to start with a planet that has an atmosphere. To find one, what you will do is you start scanning your planet, and if you look on the left side of the screen, it gives you the atmosphere. If there isn't an atmosphere, it will say none. So having an atmosphere means that there would be life on the planet. It also tells you right here on fauna and flora. Fauna is for animals and flora is for the plants. So it tells you how much of those resources are there, and it tells you the amount. So it says moderate. So the next step is selecting a landing position. And if we're just finding fauna or flora, it doesn't really matter where we land. What you want to pay attention to is the biomes. So if you look up here on the bottom right, it says rocky desert. I could say swamp. It could say all different types of environment. Ocean. So depending on the planet, the biomes will change. And the biomes indicate the types of plants and animals you would see in that area. So where I'm at now, this is a swamp and wetlands biome. You could also have two different biomes in one area if you're on the border between two. So you could either be in one swamp, one wetlands, or a combination of both. The next step is to open up your scanner and survey the land. So you want to start scanning resources, and when you scan it, you complete the checklist. Every time you complete a checklist, you're able to unlock harvesting it in your gardens and in your farm. However, the only way that you'd be able to do that is if it says Outpost production allowed. So if you look on the right side of my scanner, it gives you a list of information, the biomes, so that's where you can find the type of resource. And then the Outpost production allowed, that's giving you permission to be able to craft it or harvest it yourself. So that means you don't have to go out in the world and manually pick up the plants. Outpost production allowed allows your gardens and your farms to produce the resources, and they can send it to your shipping containers. In order for your gardens to be able to produce the plants, you first need a 100% scan whatever the plant is. So once you finish scanning, what you want to do is head on over to your garden and make sure that it has water and power. Then you head over to the computer and you select the type of resource that you want. So for me, I want adhesive, so I just select adhesive. So for fiber, we don't have a way to craft this yet. We can't create it because it requires scanning. So what does that mean? That means we haven't really discovered it. So we need to find the plant that has fiber. But if you look on the left side, it says biome complete, but yet I'm missing fiber. So what that means is that fiber is not inside this biome. We need to go to another part of the planet to find this plant, and now we can discover it. So the next step is to go to a different biome. So we're gonna go over here. This is a rocky desert area. So you see how it's 33%? That means that there's a lot more stuff that we haven't discovered yet. Versus up here, wetlands, I discovered a lot more. I have 50% of the place discovered. So what you want to do is when you get to each planet is survey the land and discover everything. That way you're able to start crafting stuff through your gardens and your farm. So I arrived in another place. So now the next step is to survey the land until we find a plant or animal that gives us, well, in this instance, it would be just the plant that gives us fiber. So I'm just gonna fast forward and we'll find this plant. Just wanted to add that if you want to start producing resources from your gardens and your farms, you want to invest points into botany and zoology. You only need 1 point in each. That way you can start building the garden and the farm for your outpost. The more points you invest, the more resources you're able to obtain from them, and the faster you're able to learn about the farm, the animal, or the plants that you're obtaining information from. And you also get like more stuff too. Sometimes you might come across plants that provide a resource, but you aren't able to put it in your garden. You aren't able to produce resources in your garden, and that's because it doesn't say, it doesn't give you the permission to do so. So some planets you might be able to produce resources, but there's some that you aren't able to. So just keep that in mind. So we found a plant that gives us fiber. And as you can see on the right side, on the second to last, it says Outpost production allowed. So this is giving us the permission we need to start crafting in our garden. Okay, so we are now back at our outpost. We're gonna go to our garden. We open up the computer, and now we're able to produce fiber since we discovered the plant. Next, what we want to do is set up our farm, our animal farm. So we go to the computer, and from the animals that we scanned, we're able to produce either nutrients or toxins. On the top right, tells us the required resources needed in order to produce this. So we already have water, so now we just need fiber. So what we need to do is send our fiber that is being produced from our garden, and we need to send it over to our farm. Alternatively, what I like to do is send all my resources to the storage bins, and then from the storage bins, I just connect that to the farm. This way, it keeps things organized and you don't have a lot of red lines all over your base. So now when we open up our scanner, we can see on the left side, we have 5 out of 5 flora, and the biome is complete. So that means we discovered all the available plants that are found in this planet. Alrighty. So just wanted to share this Excel sheet that I've been working on, and I just want to share it with you guys. So what this is a way to display the resources that are found in each planet. That way you don't have to go to each of them yourself. So it is a little bit of a spoilery, but it's up to you if you want to use that or not. So I'm just going to read through it. Just some important things to note that I already talked about is that not all planets and moon outposts are able to generate the resources for you. So, for example, some outpost production is limited and you won't be able to harvest that specific resource. So, if you look over here, it says outpost production allowed. If it doesn't say that, you aren't able to harvest it and create that resource in your gardens or in your farms. So the only way to obtain it otherwise is just to either hunt or gather it yourself. So down here, I have a color key, yellow. This is what you want. This tells you that you are able to obtain this resource and you're able to create it in your outpost. The orange just indicates that you can obtain this resource, but it's only available through harvesting animals and you have to do it personally. A dark green, you're able to obtain that resource, but only if you gather the plants yourself. And then down here, these are just the inorganic resources, like the metals. And I created a list of systems that you're able to obtain a lot of resources early without having to travel too far from the start. So going to our first tab, these are farmable organic materials. So on the left side, I have a list of organic materials in alphabetical order. It's not all the resources, but it's most of the important ones. You can organize this either through alphabetical order or you can organize this through rarity. So depending if you want to see it in a list format of how rare the resource is, or if you just want to see it in alphabetical order. So going through this, we can see in tab C, I have Gagarin as the planet. Yellow indicates that you are able to create this resource either through your garden or through your farm. So anywhere that is yellow, that means you're able to create a garden or a farm, and you're able to create this resource yourself. Orange indicates that you need to kill or skin or harvest that resource from an animal. Green indicates that you're able to harvest this resource only by picking up plants and flowers and things like that. So I have a few planets out here that have several different resources that you are able to create outposts on, so you can start creating these resources yourself. On this next tab, I just consolidated all the planets or moons that have that give you the permission to create these resources in your gardens or in your farms. I'm still exploring, but I know that I'm missing certain resources that you're not able to craft yourself, and you still need to gather them yourself. So that's why these are blank. The left side just tells you the planet or the moon, and then on this side just tells you the system where it's found. Okay, on this next tab, this tells you all the inorganic resources. I believe this is all of them, but I could be wrong. I know I'm missing a few of the unique ones, and I'll go over that on the next tab. So this was the best obtainable resources in the starting systems. So I color coordinated each of these, which indicates the planets that are in different systems. So if you go on my read here tab, it tells you what each of the colors indicate, which systems are representing what. So over here, it tells you if you want to find cobalt or copper, you go to these planets that are named. If you want to find a certain resource, I have it listed already right here. So that way you don't have to just go planet to planet and scan it yourself. You could just look at this list and see where you need to go if you want to get a particular resource. The reason I chose these is because this is these are 5 systems that are relatively close to the starting area, and you don't need a particularly high level in order to go out and create your outpost or some city. You're able to start this off almost immediately, like at least maybe like level 5 or so. So this is the summary of the planets that you're able to obtain resources very early on. So right here, I have like a little short guide. At the start of your outpost journey, be sure to obtain these resources when you're starting out. You want iron, aluminum, beryllium, helium, and copper. Those are the resources that you need in order to get things going. And then I suggest starting on the moon, Androphon, and this moon provides you the above resources. Well, except copper, you would need to find that elsewhere. But I have it listed right here. So if you need copper, you can go right here. You would go to planet Zamka, or the moon. Moon Zamka, yeah. Just to remember that you only have a total of 24 outposts once you obtain all the skill points required to get to that point. So you need to make a count. So you have over 40 resources, but you only have 24 outposts. So what you want to do is every time you make an outpost, you want to get at least 2 or 3 resources within each outpost. So over here on this last tab, this is kind of the end game min max. So what this is, the most amount of resources with kind of like the least amount of planets required to get to that. Um, Down here, these are the unique resources that are only obtainable in these planets. So these are just for the inorganic resources. And over here on the right side, for organic, you just want to look at this list right here. That way you're able to create the organic resources yourself through your gardens and farm. This is still a work in progress. There's a lot of planets and a lot of exploring to do, but I hope that this helped you guys out, and hopefully I can explain it in a way that is able to be understood. Thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a good day.